Very good morning, everyone, to those of you who have joined. We are just giving a quick couple of minutes to some of the people who are still joining in. I hope you guys are able to see my screen and you are able to hear me fine. Okay, I can see the attendee numbers increasing very slowly and gradually. It's still early in the day. We are just going to wait for few more minutes and get started for as soon as a couple more people have joined. Till then, you can see on the top right corner of your screen, there should be a Q&A section. Throughout the sessions, you can keep posting your questions in there. You can also mention if you're not able to hear anything or see anything. One of our moderators will get back to you and help you out. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in next 2 minutes we are starting off. Our attendee count has significantly increased now, and while we are waiting in those 2 minutes, how about people in the chat? If you can just write to us, where are you joining from today? Which cities are you joining from today? Our lovely shipments team is based out of Ahmedabad, and all of us are joining in from Ahmedabad. I would love to see where are you guys from. Okay, let's get started for today. Thanks to those of who you have already joined. I know it's early in the day, there's a lot going on your end, but we really appreciate that you were able to take time and join this webinar today. We recently released our MBL Workflow 2.0, and during this webinar, we are going to talk about what will you be able to accomplish post this session, what will you be able to do out of shipments post after using this workflow. What are the new additions in MBL milestones, and how can you exactly track them? What are the ways you can manage these milestones or manage the view of these milestones? Some of the best practices that we have gathered from across all of our customer base, and followed by a question and answer session. So starting off, what is it that you will be able to do? What is it that you will be able to do once you have learned how to use these milestones? First and foremost, you will be able to capture and track all of the critical milestones from the time you receive the shipping instruction till the time the final BLs are released to the customer or shipper. Currently, what we observed before launch, what we observed was a lot of our customers were managing these milestones within Excels. There was a lot of back and forth between different teams. There was a lot of loss of information. There was a lot of delayed information. As a result, one of your most important document was getting recorded either delayed, or your customer were not receiving information on time. So the first and most basic thing that you will be able to do is now you will be able to capture time of each and every movement of these stages like you do in Excel currently. Second is obviously you will be able to completely eliminate the Excel sheets or additional records that you are maintaining right now to track that at which stage the MBL process is and what is the status update from the team on same. You will be able to manage that and record that within system and notify each other either internally or externally from the system itself. We will shortly see how. Then you can easily track which milestone was completed by when and by whom. As a supervisor or as a manager of the team or anybody that's just trying to understand what's going on with a certain record, it's very important to understand which of your team members has worked upon a certain record. There might be absences in the team, there might be somebody busy with something else at the moment, so that async communication or without breaking in any communication, without having to wait for reaching out to someone, you are able to do that via system now. And then preventing any exceptions such as late SI filing, late MBL release, post release amendments, which can lead to again delayed BLs to customer. And at the same time, a lot of I don't know about you guys, but then I think a lot of customers would not be happy with you filing a lot of late charges. So this is sort of a customer delight that you would be providing to your customers by making sure that you are recording this in a timely fashion. Speaking of which, moving on to the next part. So what are the milestones that we have actually added at this moment within the system? Once you move to the SI reminder sent to customer, starting from reminder sent to customer, we have opened up these milestones, right? What are these milestones? If you look at my screen right now, and we will be shortly seeing how this works within the system as well. So let's say somebody is in SI reminder state to send to customer state. How does it look like within system? Let's take a look at it while we are going through these stages. So I'm just going to quickly open up a job which I created earlier. So if you notice, this is right now in booking confirmed state. So let's move it to SI reminder sent to customer state. And then as always, you will be able to record the event date. So let's take a sample together, put it to right now. If you would like to add some remark, recorded by And let's say, and if you want to send notification to someone, either someone internally or externally, we all are aware of the beautiful notification drawer that opens up at each point. Not only are you able to send an email, if you like, you are also able to notify your teams on WhatsApp. Enabling this opens up web WhatsApp. Those of you who are seasoned shipments users will already know that. So for now, we are not going to send this notification. So let's just look at the status. So the status has instantly changed to SI reminder sent to customer. So now, once you have sent the reminder to customer, you will be receiving the SI from customer. At this moment, when I click on SI receive from customer, what is important for us is the attachment that we receive from customer or the copy that we receive from customer. At this stage, you are not only able to record this particular event, you are also able to drag and drop a copy of SI right over here, same as the earlier milestone, and we will see this in most of the milestones that you are going to get remarks and you are going to get the notification. You can either check for notification or depending on if you are backdate, you're just recording this, you might not want to send it also, whichever works for you. Ideally, we recommend using the send notification so that you don't have to maintain a separate track of emails. So I'm just going to quickly submit this. So SI received from customer. Post SI received from customer. Now we are at SI file. Now there are two particular situations in SI file. If you are working with major lines, usually you would just directly go and mark it as SI file. But in cases of NVOCCs and the likes, you can also create a draft of the MBL or SI from right here. So for this particular example, we are going to treat it as a major line, and just give us one moment. My screen is frozen. Okay. So now that we are at the SI received from customer state, we discussed, just for the people who, I think some of you mentioned that my voice audio was out. So we discussed that there can be two types of SI file situation. One is if you are filing the SI with major lines, you would just directly want to file it. And in some cases, you work with NVOCCs. For NVOCCs, you are kind of going ahead and clicking on this particular MBL and SI document, draft document. So we're just going to quickly go back. And then our status, if you can see, has changed. So ideally, you would want to go ahead, like I was discussing just now. Let's say my SI is already filed. So SI file date, I'm going to put it as today's day. just for example. And then what's the next state? So the next state from SI filed is, this is where now the magic starts happening. I think in some of the cases, either via notes or via Excels, people currently track what is the status of first draft, or what is the status of whether it is sent to carrier, whether it is received from carrier, whether it is sent to the customer. So all of this, if you click on this particular icon right here, if you click on this particular three dot icon right here, now you will be able to track that in sequence as well. You should be able to, let's say I receive my first draft from the carrier. I can go ahead and record the date, and not only just record the date, I can also go ahead and drag the file of the first draft within here. Then I can also directly either just record the date for when I shared the first draft with customer. Obviously, at each and every stage, my ID is getting marked over here. So let's say today's date, and I'm going to quickly save this first draft shared with customer. Then the next stage is first draft, whether it was approved by customer or in some cases agent also. I keep moving. And then you see draft approved. Now, in case of draft approved, post draft approved, we also have a status BL audit. Although this status is not particularly mandatory, but in majority of the cases, we always have that one person, maybe a team manager or a dedicated person within the team that kind of makes sure that everything within the BL or if in case there are any changes within there, or in case the second layer of person who wants to make sure that everything, every kind of movement that has happened within BL, whether that is valid or not, whether everything is shared correctly or not. This is also kind of the stage where it's almost similar to maker checker. So this BL audited date is a way for somebody to demarcate, for even the supervisor or for anybody on the team to kind of demarcate that, okay, this has gone through that amazing second layer of check by a team manager or a supervisor. You stamp the date, and obviously your name will be coming up as and when you are doing that. And then we finally move to release MBL. So let's talk about release MBL. When we release the MBL, right, there can be at certain point, if you are dealing with just MBL or HBLs, right? In case there's involvement of HBL or CWA bill, the stage after this is the stage which is where it ends. But in case of original BL, we will see a couple more situations, right? Right after given to customer, in case of MBLs, you will see MBL received by shipper and then MBL surrender or received at destinations. But for those cases where we have an HBL involved, or we our BL type is CWA bill, our flow stops right here. So I'm just going to put a dummy MBL number in here and maybe also share a sample file. So this is a sample file that I have gathered. We are going to just take the number from here. And as always, it automatically tags your document. Let's just put the MBL number over here. We are taking a more popular example. And then you can edit or add anything else which you would like to add. If you look at the bottom over here, mark as given to customer and send notification. For the most important milestone, you can also go ahead and just directly send the notification from right within the system, as opposed to, sharing a copy parallelly on the email as well. So you're really not switching between any app at this point. If I click on it, let me just show you how it looks like. So this stage, right, the given to customer stage is you are kind of not only talking about the release, you're also talking about whether it is given to customer or not. And we are going to talk about these two modes in a moment. Let's go ahead and just go through that one particular step. So if you notice, when I X'd out, it did make sure to save the last uploaded MBL as well in here. So that's something that you can do for yourselves. By any chance, if you accidentally X out, the system remembers that you have uploaded a file. So let's mark it as released. And then we discussed that post marking it as released, if we mark it as given to customer. So we saw that you can either do this in combination with release, or you can do it individually also. Now, what is this option over here? In mode of release, you are able to indicate that whether the BL was given in person or whether the BL was given via or sent via a courier. In case of given, you can probably say, maybe I gave it to my colleague person, whom all of you are very familiar with, and maybe then we gave it. You can either send a confirmation from here if you need, or just keep that name record. In case of courier, it will allow you to add courier name and maybe, let's say, a sample courier tracking number for team to internally also be able to track, or in case your customer calls you up, you can give the tracking number from right here. And let's say if you want to send the confirmation along with the tracking number, that's something that you can do from here as well by making sure the send confirmation is clicked. Okay, so we're just going to not send the confirmation for now. But the minute you mark it as given to customer, we discussed two cases. For HBL cases, you can pause over here and move to the next stage of the job. But in case of direct MBLs, or if there's no CBA bill, now you are seeing a couple more milestones which were not present earlier, or were not very easy to understand. So mark MBL as received by shipper. We all are aware of what that means. I'm just going to take a sample example. And or mark MBL as surrendered at origin. From very popular request at this stage, a lot of people had asked about if we can send email from within the system at this point when we are surrendering. So that's a yes. Now you are able to send an email with the help of this notification box. You can hit save. You'll see the wonderful box opening up. So this is where we pause, and it moves to the next stage, pre-alert, and then everything else from here follows as what it has been generally. I'm going to quickly pause over here and see if we have any questions from the team before we move to the next state. You can drop your queries within the Q&A icon. Taking quick questions. Okay. Not many questions. Okay, there I can see there is possibly a question coming up. Okay, no worries. So our moderator will make sure to take any questions if you remember any. We will also be making sure that we send you a copy of this presentation post this webinar. So the next step for us, what is the next step? Now that you have gone through the wonderful milestones that we just saw, the next step for us is obviously to understand what has been the journey of our MBL. So one thing that you can do within system, or this is something that's also available from outside, from the report view, from the common view. So as you can see, there's a sample on my screen right now. You get to see the entire MBL timeline, or you can actually do entire audit of what has happened on this particular MBL workflow throughout. You're also able to see the details of courier right here. And this is just basically a quick view in case you're talking to somebody or you're sharing some details with someone ad hoc. Um, then the next thing, obviously, once you have gone through so many stages, at the end of the day, somebody would want to have a complete end-to-end view of what has happened. So we are just going to quickly look at how your MBL screen will look like right now. So if I go to my navigation, motion, and then MBL, as a standard screen, you are already given this active MBL. Now, there are two approaches to this particular screen. We all are aware that there's insane amount of configurability in this particular view, as in you can add any column which you're entering as data in here. So at this moment, the simplest one, the first approach is the simplistic view. You have all the active MBLs and you have all possible workflows right within it, all possible stages right within it. So if I look at my screen, so my job number basically was this 0022. So if I look at this, see, it has recorded all of the stages of when I have received the SI, when did I file the SI, when was the draft received, etc., etc. And if I want to see who did it, I can obviously, oops, let me go inside, and I can obviously take a look at that quick view, and I can see which person has done it. So my ID right now is support shipments, but obviously your name is going to come over here just to understand who has worked upon it. There's a quick view to the MBL, which was also available earlier. Let's say if you would like to bulk update something, that's also a possibility that you can do over here, which is you can use this particular section to just quickly take a look at all of these at once and maybe update everything from here, from these actions, MBL actions or last action. MBL action is something that's going to be relevant. So either you do it from within the job or whether you do it from outside the job by filtering by line or by person or by location, whatever is your convenience, you can do that. In terms of report actions, you can, of course, download this report where people used to spend hours or a lot of significant amount of their day in making these reports. Now you can just simply download this report. The system makes the report for you. Another approach to looking at this is also standard views, which are configured, multiple standard views. So let's say I do not necessarily use all of these flows. I maybe use 3 or 4. There are, if you notice in this add view section, there are a lot of standard views of each stages. If you don't see anything to your liking, you can always create a new view according to your filter. So these are some standard filters that have been provided. So let's say, for example, if I want to see MBL surrenders, that's a important view for me. I can always add that standard view, and instead of looking through this entire sheet or scrolling through this entire sheet, if I want to just focus on this, this gives me a more focused view to do that. And then same as the last view, this will, same as any of the view that you see at this moment, this will obviously allow you to download the report or maybe send an email also from here to anybody that you would like to send. So if you would like to report to your manager at the end of the day what has happened and how many in total have been surrendered, or what are the activities that you have done in a day, that's something that you can do from here directly. Again, taking a quick pause to check if we have any questions of how to manage this. Okay, I see one comment from Propeller team. Propeller team has joined from Noida. Thanks, Propeller team, for joining. Propeller team, I know we were very excited about this MBL workflow, and I just quickly want to understand if there's anybody from the team that has any questions on how to use it, any questions around implementation of it. Do we feel we are going to be able to start using it right away? Anybody else from the attendees? Okay. Seems like we have done a pretty good job. Nobody has any questions at this moment. That is awesome to hear in its own way. So we are nearing our time. We just have 10 minutes left. So we are going to pause over here in terms of this screen and quickly talk about some of the best practices. So our best practices, right? I think what are the things that we recommend people to do at any point? Some of the best practices we already discussed while I was showing you the screen. Um, for people working at a singular level, as in for people who are sort of at a daily monitoring space, I think this is a more better screen. The active MBLs is a better standard view. And we also encourage, second very big best practice that we encourage people is if your account's DNS server is not activated, let's say you have identified that, okay, you want to now start sending emails from system. One very good thing that you can do, or one very good thing that shipment allows you to do, is you are able to send it from your official domain. So let's say tanvi at shipments.com. I would be able to send my email when I send from the system. I would be able to configure my shipments app to send it from that shipments.com domain itself. So check with your company POC or get in touch with your shipments account manager in case when you send email right now that's not happening. We can make that happen for you. We can set up your DNS server for you so that at any point of time, if you're using the notification option actively from shipments, you should be able to send that from your domain itself, which at any point of time comes as a trusted source to your customer. Another thing that we also encourage is that as and when the activities are happening at each stage, right, you park time for yourself. Let's say, maybe something that has helped a lot of people, right? Maybe you sit at the end of first half of your day, and if you would like to bulk up day, if the entire flow at one go is becoming too much, you can always bulk update. You can sit at the first half and you can bulk update. Okay, in my first 3 hours of the day, these many actions have kind of completed. Let me just quickly filter that out and quickly bulk update them. That way, is what you are doing is you're not waiting till the end of the day for this update to pile up. You're kind of going ahead and making sure there are real-time updates post every 2 or 3 hours. All right. If there's anybody else on the team that would like to recommend, we love suggestions from everyone from our attendees. If there's anybody else that would like to recommend anything in terms of what are your best practices that you use, you can put it on our chat. Uh, I would love to read it out. Okay. If there's nothing else from anybody over here, I guess we can call it a day. In case any of your team members have missed this meeting, please do not worry. There will be a recording at the end of this session, which will be emailed out on top of the earlier email that we sent. If there's any questions whatsoever, if there's anything that comes up in your mind, I for one, usually I'm a person that kind of contemplates and gets to questions maybe post 2 or 3 hours from the time I have seen something new. So if you come up with a question way post this particular session, you can always reach out to us. We have two queries. Okay, a lot of queries coming in. Let's take them. We have two queries, BL release type, original, and SWB reporting. In BL audit after audit, task doesn't show invoice, carrier release, customer release. Okay. I'm going to take the first question. BL release type original slash is C-way reporting. So can you describe a little bit? Do you want to, are you meaning that you want to divide up the reporting, or if that's the case, you can just revert on top of that and let me know.
So, hi Tanvi, can I take
Yeah.
the second question?
Yeah. While we are waiting for clarification on the first one, sure, please.
So the second question where the team is asking that in BL audit after audit task doesn't show invoice, carrier release, customer release. So carrier release is basically release MBL, and it is visible if you have the permissions for the same, Pradeep. And customer release is basically given to customer. So the milestone names are release MBL for carrier release, and custom for customer release it is given to customer. And invoice related tasks, the carrier invoice is received or not, that is part of a separate workflow, which if we can show Tanvi, we can add that column of carrier and forwarding invoice status in the view you have, and we can quickly show it that how those milestones can also be marked.
Yeah, let's do that
Okay.
right now. Uh, 1 second. You. Okay. So this is a view that I did not make, so I may not be able to make the changes over here. But let me just show you how you can do it. On top of this particular view, let's say, what was the invoice? What was the date that we were looking for, Shubham? Sorry.
Tanvi, I'm just adding the column, just give me a second,
Okay.
I have the
Okay.
right.
Perfect. Perfect. This is your view. So while we are waiting for that column to get added, there is
I have added
again.
the column, Tanvi, in the last, it will be visible now after the SI cutoff date.
Okay, let's reload. Let's use our favorite action, reload. Okay, and there you can see the forwarding invoice status right from here. You can even action it from here if you need. And I think I'm not seeing any note. BL type not showing on report. Okay, BL type we can definitely add BL type from here.
So BL
So
type is the first column, I guess. In the very beginning, the column is there. BL type columns are there, and then
yeah, I
people
can
can
see that.
add those columns. MBL type column is after the carrier. So MBL type and release type both are visible, original and release type, after the shipping line carrier column.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So you can filter this column, Pradeep, if you like, or you can just duplicate and create two separate views, for one for original and one for CV bill, right? So that's completely up to you. Is there any other question that we have? I would probably have to close couple of times, and then that's when usually there's a FOMO that kicks in and people start asking questions. So I'm okay to do that a couple more times if we can get some more questions in here, please. Okay. Okay, so basically, again, once again, reiterating for everybody, right? If there's any other data capture screen that's available anywhere within the system, this is a standard view that we had created by renaming some of it to make it easy for people. But at any point, if you feel for your particular business, that's the beauty of our app, right? If you feel you would like to also compare something else in here, you can always add more columns within this particular view itself. Okay, having said that, we are just going to quickly pause over here, and we are already nearing the end of this webinar. You know where to reach out to us if you have any sort of question. And you can always write to us either on tanvi@shipments.com or support@shipments.com. There is no need of activation for these particular permissions. Anybody that's doing docs right now or has standard permissions should be able to see these milestones as and when you start the SI file status. Awesome. Having said that, thank you so much everyone for joining in today. We will see you at the next webinar scheduled for today. Thank you.